What's up, everyone? This is Bill with BLRTUNING. Today we're down here at the shop and we have this 2025 model RAWRR Mantis X. We're going to be changing the gearbox oil on it. I'm going to show you guys how to do that step by step. Some of the things you need to get the job done here. We have a syringe with a little hose. That's to put oil back in it. And it's going to be 60 mils of fluid or 60 cc's, same thing. Okay, so we do have a mark there. Okay, and then we're going to need some gear oil. You can use this. This is 80W90. It is safe to use. This meets GL4 and GL5 specifications. And then this is a 75W90, which this is what we're going to use. This is actually a GL4 oil, but either one of these will work. We're going to go with this one here. This is a gear oil. This says shaft drive oil, but it's gear oil. Same deal. Okay, so we're going to be using this right here, but either one of these will work. I'll leave a link in the description for you to go purchase a kit. We have a syringe. It's going to have 60 mils of our oil. Again, we're going to be using GL4. That's the important part. 7590 or 8090 will work. It's easiest to take the little plastic cover off on the left hand side if you're sitting on the bike. To do that, you're going to need a T25 and a T30 Torx wrench. I'll show you where those bolts are. So these here are T25. Up here, that one there, T30. We'll get that off of there and we'll be able to see everything behind there real easy. Okay, so we got our cover off. You're going to want to clean out inside here. Remember, this is a 2025 model. You'll see on some of the models there's a hole here. This is the drain plug for the gearbox, and this is the fill plug. We have to pull that plug out, but there's nowhere for it to drain. So we're going to need something that comes up here and channels that oil away from this area, or we're going to be cleaning up a mess. But they did make this kind of like a little dish. It is enough to hold the oil, so if you do drain that, you're not going to have oil everywhere, but you are going to have to soak up that oil that sits there. So technically, you could probably throw a paper towel up there, let it drain onto the paper towel. You're going to deal with a little bit of a mess to clean up, but not too big of a deal. But I noticed on some of, I think the 24 model, you can drain the oil and it drains straight down. I don't know. I haven't had the chance to change the oil on a 24 model yet. So I didn't know it was like that, but you're finding out along with me, so we're going to get the job done here. Our fill, so once we pull that out, if we loosen this, it should flow, and then we'll stick our hose up here and shoot our 60 mils of oil. You just want to make sure 60 mils gets in there. If it starts to overflow, stop, let the air leak out and get in there, and then the fluid drain in, and then start adding more. So let's see if we can find something right here, maybe like a paper plate or something like that, that we can get that oil away from there. Dominoes for the win. Got a paper plate in here, so that'll work just fine. We'll get a paper towel, make sure we don't make too big of a mess. But this is a 12 mil. You're gonna need a 12 millimeter open end wrench, and then this is a 14 up here. So we're gonna pull that all the way out, then we'll start popping this loose, let it all drain out. Remember, first we're gonna go in here and clean all this with some brake clean, so we don't let nothing, no dirt inside this gearbox. Okay, so let's get this all cleaned up and get it draining. You see the paper plate worked perfect. Got the drain plug out, and now we're just letting her drain. There's not going to be much more than that. And now we can crack this loose so we can get all the fluid out. But everything is a snug fit for sure. And this is actually, one second here. Okay, so this was actually a little bit loose right there. So it wasn't even that tight. So this is all stuff you should be checking when you buy one of these bikes. Right, there we go. Now get the cap out. Okay, a little bit more came out, but yeah, that's it. It doesn't hold a lot, but the paper plate method worked perfect. You see we didn't even spill a drop. So now we'll be able to get that plate out of there and have minimal mess. Dispose of our oil correctly. And we'll put the plug back in. It goes down to 16 foot-pounds. It's like it is magnetic on the bottom. It does have some junk on it, which is to be expected. This is its first oil change. So on this bike, there's 300 miles on it. They say to do the oil change in 600 miles, but you can see there's not much oil in here. I would recommend doing it half of that. We're doing it in 300. So definitely stuff to take into consideration. Anyway, like I said, there'll be a link in the description below, so make sure you check that. Show you where to grab everything from. And then, yeah, let me fill up our syringe with 60 mils. We'll put that drain plug back in. We'll clean it all. Make sure we reuse the rubber washers or replace them. There's a rubber washer there and a little gasket there. So we'll inspect those, make sure they're not damaged. 16 foot-pounds for both. So we'll torque them back down to spec. And then we will come in here and add some oil once we get that drain plug bolt in. Okay, so we have our 7590 GL4 oil. You see, when we tip the syringe back and let everything settle, we are right at 60 mils. That's what we want. Okay, nothing sitting in the hose a little bit, but yeah, so 60 mils. So now we got to get that in there and try to get it all in there. Okay, I got you guys up on the tripod. You can see the hole is right up there, so I'll put my finger on it. You see it right here. So I'm going to zoom you in a little bit. We'll see if any leaks out. See if we can get all this oil in. Remember, 60 mils has to go into the box. So the 60 mils needs to go into the gearbox. That's what we're going for here. We're going to come in like this. I'm down as far as the hose will let me go. I'm hoping that helps us. And we're just going to squeeze a little bit at a time, and we're just watching to see if we have any coming out. If we have some come out, we'll let it sit for a minute. I'm hoping we don't have that issue, but they don't say anything about a vent on this model, whereas like on the 72 volt Mantis, the regular Mantis, it has a vent bolt that you can pull out, and that would make it way easier to fill up, but I'm not having any problems here so far. Oh. Okay, let's pull a little back out. Let's let it sit for a second. Started to see some come up there. So let's let it sit. See if we can get any air bubbles out. Just move this little hose around a little bit. Start squeezing some more and see what happens. I'm stopping because I can see it right there. Okay, so we're about a little over halfway. We got about another 20 mils or so to go, but just wanted to show you guys when it gets up to the top here. See if we can. When it gets up to the top here, you can kind of see it. It's right sitting at the top. If you just put her in eco mode and just give it a little bit of throttle. Nothing crazy. Alright, just rev it. Let it sit. We got the back wheel off the ground. We're just spinning it up just a little bit. And then let it sit. And it goes down significantly. It gets rid of the air pockets pretty quick. So now we add a little more, fill it to the top, and do the same thing. Okay, I just put more in there. You can see it is directly at the top now. You'll see it go down. Remember, slowly. It's got to burp those air bubbles. There it goes. See? It just dropped. There it goes again. So every time you rev it up and then let off, and let the engine, everything come to a stop. Remember, nothing crazy. I mean, we're just putting new oil in, but that will get rid of the air bubbles. We want to make sure we get 60 mils of fluid in there. Okay, so we got the 60 mils in there. Syringe is empty. Maybe just a couple drops residual in that hose, but we got it in there. We have everything kind of cleaned up, wiped down. We'll get our cap back on, and then we'll spray everything with brake clean right in that area and get it all cleaned up. Oil up our chain and tighten our chain, and be done with the RAWRR Mantis. So I'll show you. Eco mode, 2.3 miles is what I just put on the bike to get that to drain down. It is the easiest way that I found. So every time it fills up to the top, just bump it a little bit, bump it a little bit. It will slowly pop the air bubbles and go back down. It is the easiest way that I've found to do it. You can poke the hose in there a little bit and pop the air bubbles that way, but by far one of the longest oil change jobs that I've had to deal with, just because of the design of it. You know, it's an airtight system inside there. So air bubble gets up there, and then you have to pop the air bubble to get more oil in it. But 2.3 miles on the bike just to get the oil done. So keep that in mind when you're doing the oil change on these. It is easiest to have a stand like this and have that back tire up in the air. But we'll get the oil cap back on. 16 foot-pounds, it's a 14 millimeter bolt. And then we'll put our cover back on and we'll head out and rip. Remember, there will be a link in the description to grab what you need to do your oil change. If I find a better solution than this, we will post it, a link in the description. We may carry something. We're gonna talk to a couple manufacturers and see if we can carry something that'll get the job done really easy for you. You know, something, a kit that you could buy. But anyways, that's gonna do it for the RAWRR Mantis X. Remember, this is the Mantis X, the 25 model that I'm showing here. The oil change job is similar on the Mantis. It's similar on the Mantis, the new Mantis X Pro. We'll probably have a video on that when we're ready to do an oil change on that bike as well. But this will cover your 24 and 25 Mantis X. Just remember, I think, if I remember correctly, I think the older one has a hole right there, but that paper plate method worked perfect. So anyways, I'm Bill with BLRTUNING. Links in the description below. Go check us out. It's blrtuning.co. We have a lot of parts for these bikes. Peace. Oh my God! No!